On this episode of Pennies Going in Raw, me and Hugh discuss this week in the market, offerings, mindset, question and A, some swings of the week, Hugh's DD, and a scenario including a love triangle with a man, a woman, and his swings.
Hey, yo, check 1, 2. This is Flavor Flav in the building for the Atlas crew.
Atlas Trading, what the fuck is up?
There are traders, there are prodigies, and then there's legends.
We're up 4%, baby.
No way.
4 fucking percent.
Buy the fucking dip.
Hey, who told me about IDEX?
Like, dude, what the fuck? Like, someone just made, like, a lot more money than me on my trade.
You find out life's this game of pennies.
Did you check the portfolio?
Pennies. The margin for error is so small.
I bet Warren Buffett never did that.
And they out there making money right now off of penny stocks.
Them two guys is putting in work to make y'all rich.
The pennies we need are everywhere around us.
It's time to think big.
Pennies Going in Raw.
Featuring Dan, Deity at Dips.
And Hugh Henne.
Produced by Vinny Strokes, baby.
Welcome to the Penny Stock Podcast. Today is Sunday, July 26th, and the market is still a little shaky.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, this week was a little roller coaster, eh?
Yeah, I barely made it out alive. What about you, man?
No, I went to the slaughterhouse this week. This week was not good. I had my biggest day on Monday ever, and then proceeded to have my biggest loss ever on Tuesday, and then I just bled out from there, and it was just bloody. And ended my first red week on the year.
Just swings were down?
Yeah, swings were down. BMRA, I don't want to talk about her just yet, but she, RGLS. I mean, we really just took it in we got the wrench this week.
Yeah, man, it was tough, buddy. It was tough. I'll give us a second in silence for Hugh's gains. But, yeah, man, like I said, I barely made it out. I've seen a lot of people stagnant over the past few weeks here. Like even going far back as a month.
Yeah. I mean, it's summer trading. The old saying goes, and a lot of the newer traders won't know this because we haven't had this until, we've seen it recently, is survive summer to trade in the fall.
Give y'all a second to think about that. Survive summer to trade in the fall, because I mean, you, as long as you make it through the summer, you're gonna get back to the money back in you seen in October. We're gonna get back to it just a little bit. But I mean, what really held us back this week was offerings. I know I make fun of Hugh a lot for making some calls that occasionally have offerings, but this one was a little serious to me because I had a fair amount of shares. So, dude, I think a lot of people need to know about offerings now. And just going into that, I think just going into the basic of like what an offering is and what it means for the company.
Yeah. I get this question at least 50 times a day. I haven't counted, but it's incredible. So you have two different filings. You have an S3 and an S1. Okay? The S1 is usually the filing that right before an IPO. And then if a company is doing an offering at that time, then that is the filing that they will file. And then you have an S3, which is a shelf offering. And what that means is that they can basically, like it says, put it on the shelf, not think about it, and then they can pull it out whenever they want, and they can drop it whenever they want.
And what does it usually mean for the stock price? I know, like, obviously people just see it go down, but I know so many people say, well, an offering is good for the stock. These are just weak hands and people panic selling. Like, what do you say to that?
Yeah, so I think it really depends on the stock. We can talk about BMRA. BMRA, the offering was huge. The CEO said that he was just replacing an old offering because they're only good for 3 years. So he said that he was just replacing a shelf. And that can be true, but my biggest issue with it was that the offering size was close to the market cap. And to me, even if you're replacing a shelf offering, knowing that you can drop that at any moment, and he said that he's only going to use it sporadically, and that he's going to use it once the IBS hits the market, their IBS test, and that's when the market cap will be huge and the stock will be et cetera, et cetera. And that's great if it becomes true. But I don't trust management. I don't trust any management. Apple, Amazon, Jeff Bezos, huge fan. Don't trust them with a penny. Not at all. So my biggest thing with BMRA was, one, they dropped this huge shelf offering. It was massive. Even if the company is tenfolded by the time they use it, I don't care. It's what they do right now.
Yeah. How long are shelf offerings usually good
3
for?
years. They're good for 3 years, and then they can file another one, and it's no big deal. But I think the biggest thing that we also have to talk about is the difference between dilutive and non-dilutive offerings. So we talked about it last week about dilution, and the difference between the two is astronomical. Because when you have a dilutive offering, what that basically means is that, what that means, and we talked about it, with the pizza pie and all that, is that your shares are getting diluted. And so it adds to the total number of stock shares, available to the public, which is huge. Then you have non-dilutive offerings, and that doesn't add to the number of shares available. And it can be selling stock held by major shareholders. It can be shares are only changing hands, so like more of like a swap. And that's when you have to understand, I think some of the best plays are when some of these filings come out and then people actually read them and they realize that shares were just changing hands. It doesn't change the flow. So that's when like KT, and the other thing that is huge to understand is, why is the company doing this? So when BIOC,
yeah, I mean they could have. Is it like more of a financial issue?
Exactly.
Or, I mean, there's so many reasons.
Exactly.
Right?
So I'm actually working on some DD right now on a stock that is maybe like a month or two out. And my biggest thing with them was they dropped a huge offering. And I was like, man, what are they doing? Why'd they do that? And then I looked into the company, because when I see a huge offering like, 200 million, really anything over 50 million for penny stocks, that's when I start to look into it. I'm like, man, what are these guys doing? Are they, one, big douchebags, and they're just padding their pockets, and that can always happen. Or two, is there something bigger going on here? So like there's a company that I'm looking into right now, and I actually talked to the CEO on the phone, and it sounds really promising. They dropped a huge offering. It almost cut the price in half, and the CEO assured me that this was so that it was creating the best, or so that they could create the most value for shareholders, and that they wanted to have enough cash so that when it came close to the catalyst, they weren't dropping another offering, so that they wanted to do one big one and then be done with it. And so that's really important, is that, why is the company doing this? BIOC, huge example. It was like 42,000 square foot new manufacturing plant, along with the test kits, along with new management. So they dropped an offering. They dropped the offering, but we understood what it was. So we talked about it last week. We want to make sure that the offering isn't going to dilute more than, I really like to keep it underneath 20%, because I feel that management knows what they're doing when they drop an offering. So if they're dropping more than 20%, I hate that, because that usually means that the management is poor and that they don't care about the shareholders. So
good financials. It's a really good time to see it. It's a lot less likely the offering is going to happen.
Yeah. So I'll look for. So it's huge, and for anyone that's not a finance major or worked in finance, etc., you got to know what the burn rate is. So the burn rate quarterly is how much cash do they go through in a quarter. So if they go through 30 million in a quarter, and as of March 31st they had 22 million, guess what they're going to have to do? An offering. Because there's no way, chances are most of these companies aren't going to reduce their expenses by that much, that extreme. So it's really, and you got to look at the balance sheet. You got to know the burn rate. You got to know how much cash they have. And then that's when you really have to utilize the investor relations and ask them, how much cash do you have? Like you even if they say, look back in the offering, you just need to hammer them. You need to hammer them, because at the end of the day, the only person that is, and I say this all the time about Roth IRAs, offerings, everything. The only person that's going to look out for your money is you. And so you need to bother that investor relations for how much cash they have.
All right, man. So I think now's a good time to get into some extra questions. I sprinkled some in there regarding offerings. When is the best time to buy a stock that has had an offering? Would you say it's before the offering closes, or do you base it on the price of an offering?
Yeah, so this is kind of a and we touched on it. This is a multi-part, and this is when experience really, really triumphs everything. One of the most key things is, again, understanding why the company is doing it. That's huge because, for instance, KTOV dropped an offering so that they could commercialize their drug. So what they did was they dropped the offering that wasn't that big. It was for the amount of money that they needed to commercialize. So one, we understood why they were dropping the offering. Two, it was as close to the stock. It was at the stock price so they filed it for the stock price that it closed at the day of the filing. So you'll see a lot of garbage companies. They'll release a good catalyst and then they'll drop a huge offering at like 50% of what the price of the stock is. And that sucks. So, KTOV was easy money because you understood why they were doing it. And they did the offering at 140 and it dropped to like 131. So I was already swinging it and I was like, I like tripled my position because that was easy. At the very minimum, I was going to see 140 again. And the other thing that you have to understand is how long it'll take for the offering to get soaked up. So if you know that based on the average volume so say they drop for 10 million and the average volume is 3 million. You know that based on the average volume that the shares should be incorporated within 4 days. Okay? So I think that that's really important.
Okay, cool. So lastly, before we get into it, I think just discussing how to know, or what are some signs that an offering is going to happen? Because I know a lot of times it happens after it's shot up a lot, and that's when people, that might have gotten greedy lose money, because a lot of times they'll shoot up, maybe 60% that day, and then the very next day it has an offering. You see tops do it like 20 times a week. But like, what are ways that you kind of spot or are wary of offering?
Yeah, so this is a huge shout out to, I don't want to steal your thunder, but buy, sell short.
Hey, I was gonna shout them out. You're telling my
answer.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Because I was gonna. No, go ahead, please.
No, but for real, we both agreed that buy, sell short has a really good video on YouTube. If you just YouTube search buy, sell short offering. So one of the things he really hits on is if something has no options trading, like no liquid options, it kind of is counterproductive to them, because if you're shorting it, you're gaining money from what they're trying to, use it for. So I think that's a good thing to look out for. How would you expand on that?
Yeah, I think the other thing is, and for anybody that watched China Hustle, you recognize the name Roth Capital. All these firms, and this is where I say I don't trust anybody, because all these firms like Maxim, they'll put a price target of, they had a $30 price target on SHIP when it was like 12 cents. So they put these huge price targets, and then they're the same people that are doing the offerings, that are the underwriters for the offerings. It's like two separate entities. They're telling you, oh, it's worth $30, and then 2 weeks later they're telling you, oh, here's a $200 million offering. So what I do is I like to watch Maxim and a few of the other underwriters, because if I'm starting to see a stock that has a potential catalyst, if I'm starting to see them, maybe releasing price targets on it, or maybe they're invited to conferences by that underwriter, that's when I start to see, okay, maybe an offering is coming. And then again, you look back at their burn rate. If the burn rate, if they're low on cash and you see Maxim give a crazy price target, and then you see them presenting at a Maxim conference, chances are, and then again, no options, that's not saying that an offering is 100% coming, but that's one of those things where you need to kind of read in between lines and say, okay, maybe there's something behind closed doors going on here.
Yeah, and we're not invited behind those closed doors. So with that being said, I think that sums up offerings. And I think we can now get into trader psychology. And we went into this. Was that a clap of like we need to pause?
No, I'm so stoked.
Okay. I guess just leave this in. F it. So, like I said, we're getting into trader psychology. We went over this as we were doing a little rough draft, and Hugh somehow started talking about like the Board of Education in the 1950s. So I did ask him to trim that down a little bit. Maybe he can get into that later. But yeah, Hugh, kick it off, man.
Okay. Whew. Dan, I don't even know where to start. Should we start with down? Or you know what? Let me ask you a question, Dan.
Probably just the Board of Education.
Yeah, oh yeah. Dan, I'm going to ask you a question, and all I want you to do is react when I ask you this question, and the first thing that you think of, I want to come out of your mouth. Okay?
Okay.
When you hear college is going to be the best 4 years of your life, what do you think?
That college was the best 5 years of my life. So far, but I hope I have a better 5 years that maybe I make a few better choices.
Okay, well, when I hear...
Did I not give the right answer?
No, I really wasn't... I forgot about the 5 years, so it threw me like a little bit of a curveball, but...
Okay, sorry.
No. But when I hear that, that would literally anger me. How the hell is the best 4 years of my life going to be at the very beginning, or, about 20%, knock on wood,
the beginning of your adult life.
Yes, and all I think about when I think about college is, one, making terrible decisions, making making horrible decisions, being in debt. Millennials, all I do is read articles about millennials having no money. 69% of millennials take financial. Okay, so these
nice.
Yeah,
Wait, so can I get something real quick? You just sit at home and read about poor millennials as you're sitting at home being a 21-year-old millionaire, Gen Z or whatever.
Yeah,
the
Gen
hell?
Z. All right, don't mix it up, right?
Hey man. Okay, yeah, you read about us poor folks,
I'm not,
but I'm on the edge. I can say I'm either. So
well, it's just that it drives me nuts that the best 4 years of your life are supposed to be when you're broke, do not know what you want to do, and are not sharing your life with a significant other and don't have kids. Like, I can't wait to have a little Hugh. It's far out. It's far out. It is far out. But the fact that the notion is that the best 4 years of our lives, at the very beginning of adulthood, blows my mind when people say that. Because here's the thing is that I know that, one, even to this day, I never bought coffee. I didn't buy shit. I was budgeted. I was broke. And we all a good majority of people come out in debt. So I can't believe when people say that's the best 4 years of your life. I was like, what the hell do I have to look forward to? So I think that mindset has to change. So with that, do you want to go into the psychology?
I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure how that involves trader psychology, but I love it. I think that was a very passionate speech.
Dude, I get so fired up. Like, the first date when I take a girl out, I'm like, what do you think about the best 4 years of your life being college? And based on that, I know it's going to work. Just based on her answer. And
then you're like, in the market, it's been going up in the pandemic. Are you insane? Yeah, so Hugh is single, ladies, if anyone's looking for a psycho. So, talking about trader psychology, now that Hugh's done ranting, we can kind of go into the mentality of being down on swings, or I guess being up. But I think we should start with, what is your mentality when you're down on swings?
Yeah, so my mentality when I'm down on swings is that I expect it in a way. Because, and again, we've had the wind at our backs for the last few months, really the last year, and I don't think that's going to go anywhere. But the thing with swings, like when I first started swinging, was that I expected to be down until the catalyst hit, because I was always swinging for a catalyst. And then, so I had no issue with being down. But the difference is being down a good percentage. Like, how do you feel when you're down like 15% on a stock?
It's tough, but I mean, one of my main things is I only focus on my day gain. So if it kind of slowly trickles out, I will start to be like, man, this stock sucks. But at the same time, I won't overreact.
Okay. Yeah, so I had to change my entire mindset when I started to swing trade.
Yeah, I think, the whole entry point is so big.
Yeah.
I think, like, when people were talking about, like, your mindset can totally change on just your entry point.
Yes, exactly. Entry point is huge. And also, like I said, I expect to be down until the catalyst hits. So I have something, and this is a little weird, but one thing that The Rock always says is, I'm a bad motherfucker. And that is something when I come in my chair, everyone always asks, like, what is your setup every morning? Like, how do you get ready? Blah, blah, blah. Like,
when you say come in your chair, you mean like sit down?
Yes, when I get into my chair, Dan, all right? When I sit down in my chair at 5 a.m. or whatever it is, I like to say, whatever's going on, I like to put on a bad motherfucker face. And my friends and I that trade, it's a little provocative, but we always want to be the biggest swinging peen in the bar. And that's because I'll never be 6'8", but if someone touches Mrs. Hugh and he's 6'8", I might get punched in the mouth, but he sure as hell isn't going to disrespect me. And that's because I'm the biggest swinging peen in the bar. So
you're just confident even though your swings are low as hell.
Yes, because if not, it'll eat at you. I cannot think of a single person that enjoys losing money. But you have to see the end goal. You have to see the end goal. So you
zoom out.
Yeah, exactly. You have to zoom out and see, okay, I'm down 7%, but my upside here is 300%. So can I put on my bad motherfucker face, and can I handle this? And can I, maybe get slapped around a little bit? I see the P&L get slapped around a little bit, but at the end of the catalyst that I'm waiting for, can I come out on top? So I think it's like huge. Dan, have you ever been in a fight?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm okay with taking a few body shots as long as I have the last punch.
How many fights have you been in?
Listen,
You're from New Jersey. I mean, I'm just asking.
Before high school, I was, that's not fair. It hasn't been one in a while, but
you're from New Jersey, dude. I think it's fair.
Yeah. I was always I was like the kid looking for a fight, like on the boardwalk.
Really? I always thought you'd just be sticking up for like the blind kid or something.
Yeah, of course.
Just like anyone even looks at him wrong, and you're like, it's time to die.
I was always looking for
Who's messing with Stan?
Yeah.
Who's messing?
Well, I was always looking for a fight, but like in a vigilante way,
Dude, that's very fucking honorable of you, man. So back to entry points. So another thing, and I guess another thing, like what we're talking about is basically what you're saying is not just know what you own, because I feel like a lot of people just say know what you own. But it's also having the confidence to know what you own and the patience to hold through it. I mean, it's more than just knowing what you own. You have to execute it as well.
Yeah.
And I think that is such a big thing on it. And another thing, when people are down on their swings, if I see people start to complain, like I said, whenever things start trickling down, I have this strategy. If I see a lot of people complaining, that's when I'll add it. I'll look at it when people start complaining about it.
Yes, and I think a lot of people bust your balls, including me, but that's, kind of my job. But
yeah, thanks, man.
Everyone busts on your strategy. But your entire strategy is based around when there's blood in the streets. You are literally buying when people are panicking, maybe even tears. Zach gets real emotional. So, he literally has tears. You are making money off of Zach's tears. And so everybody Yeah. So everybody can talk as much crap as they want about your strategy, but your entire strategy is about putting on the bad motherfucker face and
I'll add it down to zero,
Exactly. And that's your entire strategy. So anybody can say what they want, but you're not buying when it's up 300%, and you're rounding what, month 9 of trading? Or
Yeah, so I mean, I started doing this. Like, I think a big thing for me that kind of transitioned to me of being able to, have that big dong mentality was I changed my stop loss to a limit buy. And that's crazy, right? But I realized, like, because I didn't really read charts at the beginning, and I'm still on them, I just realized that they were just bouncing back up, and I'd be like, what the hell, dude? Is something wrong with me? And then I realized, like, yeah, there was, and it was my trading strategy. So I just changed to a limit buy, and when I do that, I do kind of keep a little stop loss,
yeah, of course.
That's just one of the main things. But I feel like trading psychology, I mean, it can also go into being up on swings.
Yes.
Whether it be not being greedy or knowing it's still going to go higher. Like, you look at ONTX, it was at $1.40, and everyone is still holding full, even though it tapped 98 cents on Friday.
Mm-hmm. And I just to touch on it real quick, I think one of the things that sounds so simple, Dan, I'm going to blow your mind. Okay.
Oh boy.
90% of people lose money. So shouldn't you be doing the exact opposite of what everyone else is doing? Like, statistically, if you did the exact opposite of that everyone else is doing, you would be in the top 10%. Now, that's a little, there's variables in there, but I think that that's such a simple, like, everyone's going to be like, well, yeah, duh.
There's no right way to trade. I mean, the right way is making money, and I feel like you can't try a bunch of different people's strategies and hope they all kind of work. What I did, I just combined them. And that's what I combined them to make one strategy instead of just being like, okay, well, I'll swing this, I'll day trade this, because that's not going to work. It's not. No. But I think, when you're up, I mean, take profits when you're comfortable. But I mean, like, if a stock is causing you any stress, I think, BSS always said sell half, but I feel like, I mean, no stock is worth losing sleep at.
Yeah, I think that is huge, because before, as much as we, bad motherfucker and everything, I have literally seen, I've kind of been, around the industry for a few years, and I've seen literal traders drive themselves nuts. And then you start revenge trading, and then you're going, it's just not worth it. Take the hit, refocus. If you are going to lose sleep, or you don't have a high tolerance for this or anything, it's okay. Don't lose sleep over it.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just gotta cut your losses, and sometimes maybe just don't cut the whole loss, cut half of it. I think another thing we can talk about with trader psychology is having goals. Traders, like you said earlier, traders are made; they're not born. I mean, you can touch on that real quick about, like, having a goal that's adjusted.
Yeah, I think it's huge, because I think one of the things for me is that even though we don't have a ceiling, I have short-term goals, and I think that those short-term goals help me to achieve the bigger picture. But the biggest thing, and this is something that I didn't realize in the beginning, is that my goals need to be on a constant sliding scale. When I realized that if I want to be successful, I have to have an unwavering line of success, of drive, and that cannot be questioned. My drive and my work ethic cannot be questioned. But where it can waver a little bit, I have to be open to changing my timeline and how I get there. And I think that that's huge. Yeah. So what do you have anything to add on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's super important to know, like, what you're trying to achieve. Like, obviously, especially when it comes to trading, even when you're signing up for your TD Ameritrade account, it says something like, long-term growth, my only income, cash on the side, etc. Like, what are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to achieve generational wealth and get a bunch of Apple stock when it's at $2? Or are you trying to quit your job and day trade? Or are you just trying to get some extra money on the side? Or build a retirement fund? I mean, and don't get Hugh started on retirement funds. We'll be here for another hour and a half talking about Roth IRAs. But I mean, obviously, everyone wants to quit their job and be on a beach with residual income, but no one really has residual income unless you work your ass off or you're born by people that worked their ass off.
Oh,
So.
I think, and this is huge, and again, identifying your goals is huge, but for the young bucks, the guys that are in my DMs, hey man, like I want to get to this level, I want to do this. You should not, your goal should be billions. If you are a younger guy or woman and you are trying to decide what you want in life, because I'll tell you right now, the amount of hours that I put in right now, I will not be doing for the rest of my life. I for sure will not be doing that. But the two things that I have, and these are invaluable, is that I have time and I have limited responsibility. When you are 40, if you decide that, okay, so if you say to yourself right now at 22, okay, I want to make $100,000 a year, and then you take off the rest of the year, I do not come into my DMs at 40 and say, hey, Hugh, I really wish that I went for 10 million or 100 million because now I want to go for that, but now I do not have the time because I have bills and I have responsibilities. So if you are a younger person, you should 100.
I mean, you can get up and travel the world right now if you literally, unless you have a kids or a mortgage.
Yes.
I mean, and like you said, a lot of them are in debt, but I mean, like, you can for real, like, give it a shot. Like, fuck. I started with 4K and I didn't, like, when I didn't have a job, I think I had 3,200 in my account and I haven't had a job since, and I hope I don't ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, that's the main thing. It's just like, you just got to know, like,
Yes.
what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, and if you're 40,
you gotta have, and your goal needs to be reasonable.
Yeah, your goal needs to be reasonable, but if you're younger and you have limited responsibilities, you should be reaching for the stars. And again, and this isn't someone that's 40 with kids can't do the same, but I think that the mindset changes once you have a family and once you have bills, because you know you're trying to replace your income and balance a family. And it's not that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, but sorry to argue that, but I think, like, I think mindset, no! I think mindset when it comes to these, like, 40-year-olds is important, too. They can have the mindset of these 20-year-olds. Like, do you need that extra room in your house?
Yeah.
Like, you can size down. I mean, your kids may not be as happy, but shit, I mean, like, maybe they will soon.
Yes, and I think it's huge.
Because of what you acquire. And another thing, it's like, people, when I know so many people in your DMs, like, will be, because people say they want to achieve what I've done, and I've done nothing close to your account, and people, you know, I'm sure you get, I want to make $1 million from 50,000, I'm 19 also, or some shit like that, and but they're also the same people asking, Hugh, why the hell are you up at 3 a.m.?
Yeah. I
mean, you can't ask both those questions because he's putting in so much work, and like you said, he plans to not be doing that shit forever.
No. I came down the steps after my run this morning, and my mom asked me, you know, what I did last night. And I think that's huge, is that the excuses need to stop, like, across the board. Like, I have in my DMs, I have, hey, Hugh, like, I want to get to this point, but the second I read the but, it's like I instantly start to get warm around my cheekbones, because the excuses need to stop. If Dan and I tell you that it's going to take you 1 less hour of sleep a night for 1 year to completely change the direction of your family's life, everybody's going to take that. But if there's a chance that it'll take you longer than that, then everybody's like, I don't know. Everybody wants the easy success, but no one will do it. The excuses need to stop across the board.
Yeah, and I think we can go into some Q&A on chair psychology now, as opposed to just, like, random mentality. Yeah. But I think that was absolutely, like, really good, though. It's, like, just kind of letting people know it's, like, you know, it really is just, like, what you think you can do. It doesn't matter. Like, the market doesn't give a shit about your race, about your gender, if your mom died, or if you have to take care of your brother who's blind. Like, it doesn't give a shit. And that, whether it be you're selling something or if you're trading stocks. So, yeah. With that being said, some questions and answers on trader psychology. How to transition mentally when going to next level making money and your judgment gets cloudy. I think that's like what we said about having an adjustable goal. Like, keep it percentage. Like, Just a month ago, I thought a good day was, let's say, like $600. Now my good day is $1,200, and hopefully 2 months from now, my good day is $2,000. Just keep it percentage.
Yeah, exactly. It needs to be percentage wise, and I think one of the biggest things is that money needs to become a number. Like, you cannot be 10, 50, 30 and think that $10 is nothing. And then you can't be thinking that 10 million is everything. Because although $10 in perspective is not going to get you far, it's the growth. And the same token, if I start with 100 million, I make 10 million, then I'm a schmook. So it's all about perspective. And the numbers need to become numbers on a screen. Like, I'll tell you right now, I will not buy a $12 shirt, but I lose 50 grand on BMRA, and it's nothing.
Dude, like, I've never spent this much money on anything but stocks. It's like the way I think about it is like money I make is real money, but money I lose is fucking TDA money. Yep. Like when I gain money, I'm like, okay, I got $40 off this. I could take those gains because they'll add up. I mean, obviously it's different amounts for different strokes for different folks, but it's But if I'm down money, I have to think like it's gonna be real money eventually. I'll give it a day. It's just like you got to think like find the way that works for you. But I think of money I make as money, but I think of money I lose is just TDA bullshit.
Exactly. And
especially when they're unrealized.
That's the big, like, I think at one point I had unrealized. I had almost like 7 figures and of unrealized between my swings, and I was just sitting there and I lost like 20 grand that day or whatever, and it was no big deal because I was looking at it and I was like, when it's unrealized, it's really so different. And I think one of the, as we keep saying, is that you need to live like if you're taking money out of your account, you need to pick up a part-time job. I think that's crucial. Yeah. Taking money out of your account is going to destroy your growth. Destroy.
I only take out my Weeble referral money.
Yeah.
Next question is going to be the psychology of when to sell / take profits versus patience.
So I still get questions. Actually, this morning, I got a question about BIOC. We said that the catalyst was the PR for testing kits. We got that 6 weeks ago. I think that one of the biggest things is that, one, if I'm up 150%, I always cut a fifth. And I know like that's only 20%, but but that being said is that over 150%, I always take 20%. And then I'm not selling until it does one of two things. It either breaks the trend line, so TRIB, I reduced TRIB because we were up over 100%, and it was starting to really create an ugly chart and an ugly trend. So I said, you know what, I'm going to lock in 100% gains on TRIB. We had been swinging it, so my opportunity cost was now outweighing the upside. And so we talk about this a lot, is that the risk to reward. So basically, we had been swinging it for a good 6 weeks. I was up over 100%. How much more reward can I get? And yes, before everyone starts, yes, there is much more upside, but can that money be used to better opportunity cost? That's what I have to ask myself. And so when I saw the trend starting to change and the sentiment starting to change and the chart starting to change, that's when I said I'm going to reduce it so that my opportunity cost is not so high and that my risk lowers, but that also lowers my reward at the same time.
Yep, I take profits as much as possible. For this episode, I actually practiced swing trading this week. It went all right. I would have made more day trading, but I do have the patience, and I will become a SPAC ONTX millionaire in the coming weeks. Last question on trading psychology. Do you take your trading... voice crack. Do you take your trading mentality to places besides trading? Yes,
100%. Like I said, I'll tell you what, Dan. I am not 6'8". Shocking. But, yeah, what? I know. Not 6'8". But when I walk into a bar with Mrs. Hugh...
Metaphorical girlfriend.
I'll tell you what. Let somebody say something. Because here's the thing, is that even if I get punched in the mouth and get my teeth stomped out, I still have my pride and I still have the mentality. Because, again, we are in a job that there is no backstop and there's also no ceiling.
Dog eat dog world,
Dog
man,
eat dog.
in the market.
Exactly. And so I get yelled at by my mom because I actually punched a hole when I was 17 in my closet door. I keep it there because I like to remember it. Because I had my first, it was my first 6-figure year, and I was like, fuck yes, and just got up and just lunged at the they were not happy. But
She's like, Hugh, you're using those gains to pay for the drywall.
yeah. Well, no, it was that thick board or whatever. I like broke my knuckles. But anyway, yes, it needs to carry over in every life. And I think, again, we talked about it, is that I always had the personality that no matter what I did, I was going to
Gonna be the best.
be the best. And I think that changes, and that's what we always talk about. You know, I think you and I talk about mentality a lot, and I talk about it with William Hunting because he's one of my best friends, and we talk about it. And you just can't turn it on. Okay, you need to turn the level up when you start to trade, but you need to be in every aspect of your life. And here's how good? Well, I guess if you were at college for 5 years, but. Did you enjoy the classes that were not in your major?
I didn't enjoy any of my classes.
Yeah, so I was always in I'm a big 100% or 0. Like, if I love it, then I'm going to go all in and I'm going to be the best. If I do not, I got a D in criminology for a summer class.
Yeah, man. I think for me, I took the same mentality besides just not trading to everything else. I took my mentality for everything else into trading. I always played one video game at a time. It was Guild Wars, World of Warcraft, Halo 2, Halo 3, Overwatch, Fortnite. You know, I played just those, and I only played those games at the same time. One at a time. I'd just be the best I could be at that one thing. And that's just like what I'm doing right now. I'm kind of spreading it out with the whole podcast and Twitter bullshit. But trading is the main focus. And I wanted to make my own strategy. And in those games, that's what I always did. I didn't really like to watch the videos to learn. I'd want to maximize myself based off of what I could do.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think the biggest thing is that I think of everything in numbers. Like, I was always a big numbers guy. So when someone during the middle of the market or even like the doctors is like, oh, like, can you do this day? And I'm like, you got to do it after 4:30. Because if I'm spending 2 hours at the doctor's, I know that I'm earning X amount of money per minute, and I know that I'm missing out on that and that I'm not getting time to do what I do. So the doctors hate me because I'm always like, yo, let's go. They hate me, but it's fine.
The patient with no patience. Okay. So to finish with this podcast episode, we have our swings of the week, some Q&A. We got Hughes DD on one stock and a scenario involving a love triangle, including a man, his woman, and his swings.
Nah.
So let's get right into
We're like
it.
Dear Abby.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you know, we'll get into whatever. You know, we got relationship advice. We got stock advice. We have bromance advice. It's just anything you want on this podcast. And, you know, this isn't planned. This is off topic. But speaking about the podcast, man, Henrik Fisker, CEO of SPAC, he did agree to do our podcast.
Oh, man. Oh, that's going to be a fun one. I really can't wait for that. Do we have a date yet? Is that next week or we don't know yet?
I did get an email from his vice president of communications. We're in touch. I have emailed Henrik Fisker as well, and he said, "Can you set the podcast up?" And the VP said, "Yeah, nice to meet you, Dan. Like, well, I'll send you a little message and we'll get it rolling." So me and Hugh are very effing excited about that. And we're going to try our best not to mess it up.
Are we big time now?
So, dude, I would say we're at least like G-list celebrities.
Okay. Yo, tell a celebrity network to update us.
Yeah. Hey, 58,000. Get it straight. Don't fuck it up. Okay, so man, let's hit the swings of the week, man. So mine, I'm still swinging the same one: SPAC, ONTX, OTLK, and we got a new one. Should we let it go now, or should we wait till the DD? Because it's going to be your DD of the week. I've already decided.
All right. Oh, you decided for me.
Yeah, man. I hope that's okay, because I actually wanted to know the DD, and I'm not really good at reading, so I was hoping you could just explain.
Dude, you sound like my last girlfriend. You just decide for me.
Ah, well,
yeah, we can do it. Yeah, I'll do it now. I'll do my swings
Okay.
and then.
No, well, yeah. Well, we have Q&A. Then keep them around for Q&A. Then we'll do your DD.
Ah,
you know what I'm saying?
okay.
Okay, yeah. Smart.
Yeah, so I got OTLK, ONTX, of course. What else I got? I got, of course, small trib. I did take some profits on RGLS, man. RGLS, it wasn't the news.
Yeah, Wriggles.
Yeah, it wasn't the news that we were waiting for, obviously. I saw the chasing. I sold some, and then I bought back 70%, and I'm waiting. I'm hoping we can get one last dip, and I can really load up because I can feel the impatience coming, and so I'm hoping that we just get one more big dip.
Right on. And do you want to let them know? Okay, so our swing of the week that is going to do DD on after Q&A is going to be TRVN. That's Travis Range Rover Villain. Negotiator.
Negotiator. Nice.
Now, Q&A. Before the pandemic, how was your trading style different than how it is now? It's a lot faster paced, that's for damn sure.
So this is a little more in depth for me. But I changed, and again, this was when I really said I used to do 70% trading, 30% school, and then when all of this started to hit, I completely changed that, and I did 95% trading, 5% school, and that was honestly just the difference. I also, one of the biggest things was that I was getting real complacent with, I knew that I wanted to step up my trading, and I wanted to step up my goals, but it really helped me having Bob, having Zach to...
You're about to say Dan.
Yeah. I was just about to say, I was just about to include you with the big whales, And
well, yeah, I didn't help you trade. But before you continue that, we actually talked about this not last week, but 4 days ago via text, and I think it just came to my mind. Yeah. Someone had asked, what was your biggest difference between your meh last year to your $1 million this year? And I think you can kind of really include it with this question. So I think you changing your goals, I guess, would be an answer to that. But yeah, if you'd like to include that in this one as well.
Yeah, and this is huge because before, I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but I it's fine. I was paying for school. I would split some money with my parents because don't call me a great guy, but
Whatever. I mean, get just.
No, but so I used to do that.
You know my tax bracket?
Probably 9%.
Hey, no, I was making fun of you. Don't no, just keep going with your
12%?
question. No, it's wasn't like a dude, just keep talking.
So what I did was that the biggest issue that I had was I would make a decent amount of money, and then I would, after paying taxes, after splitting with my parents, and then after paying school, I would be left with literally back to almost nothing. And then I would do the same thing the next year, and the next year, and the next year. So what I did was this year, I actually took out student loans. And because at this point I was like, of course, big swinging peen. And that's when I took out
Monster Cup.
Yeah. So I took out 30 in loans or 35, whatever. And that was what changed it for me. And I'm really afraid that we're going to have somebody take out a loan to start trading with. But that was the real difference, was that instead of, after 5 or 4 years of being consistent and getting over, a pretty big percentage, I was getting over, close to 1,000% a year. What I did was that I changed and I started with more capital, and that was the real difference maker. And then,
So are you saying that aside from just like your big difference for this year, what about the trading style for the COVID? Or do you was your trading style relatively the same, but you just focused more? It's kind of what I got.
Yeah.
From
So like I said, I did more capital, and then I changed the amount of schooling that I used to do to literal bare minimum. Like the dean has emailed me like, "What are you doing? Like, you're not doing anything." So
Making money, motherfucker.
no, I do not let them. No. But yeah. So that was huge for me. Was starting with more capital, and I changed the way that I did. So I would always have capital. I'd always have cash in the bank, kind of a thing. And now I keep $1,000 in my bank account, and the rest of it. Well, not anymore. I just moved money out, but. I keep the bare minimum in my bank account, and I keep the rest of it on the street. Yep. Like I keep it all on the street all the time.
You just have to have enough in your bank account in case you need to bail yourself out. But other than that, I think that's as much as you need. Yeah. So next question is, in a scenario where the market is sliding, how do you adjust your price target? Do you cut down on swings? I think we kind of answered that in mentality, but I actually do cut down on my swings. Like in market drops, having 40 positions, it's bad. It just doesn't go well. Take it from me. I've had a lot of experience getting my ass kicked. I mean, in every prison movie, there's always that guy on the very first day that walks up and punches the biggest dude in there to, I guess, get respect. But at the same time, that exact same dude 5 minutes later in the movie finds himself in a rough situation in the prison bathroom, like maybe 5 minutes later. So it's a toss-up sometimes.
But everyone will think he's a psychopath.
You would. There is that chance. So what about when the market's sliding for you? How do you adjust your price targets, and do you cut down your swings? I mean, you don't swing that many anyways, except like 5, 6.
Yeah, I really don't adjust the price target. I will, if I feel that I'm overweight, then I will adjust my sizing because, again, I try to have as much money on the street as possible at all times. So if I really feel like everything's overextended or that my risk has changed for the market, then I will reduce my size. But that's because on some things, I take astronomical size to the point to where, again, and we talked about it as Buy, Sell, Short said, if you don't feel confident or, your mindset changes, then sell half. So I don't usually sell half, but even just selling 10, 20% of my position that's basically all I do. And then I buy it back lower if I'm right. Or if I'm not, then I still have 80% of my position.
Right on. Okay, if you're in an intraday/week/month swing, what would make you reevaluate your position? Would you average up, down, take profits, or pull out?
Yeah, so one...
I think we also touched on that one.
Yeah, we also touched on that one. That again, we talked about that. This is Trib to a T. Trib, we were up 100+%. I saw that we had been swinging it longer than I wanted to. And so the opportunity cost changes because you always got to think, where could my money be doing better for me? And so when I saw the sentiment changing on the chart, that's when I decided to reduce my position significantly. And again, the same thing is that RGLS, I can feel the impatience. And when I really what I start to do is I start to reach out to management. And again, I bother them. Like the CEO, like before COVID, if there was... New Jersey has a lot of biotechs, so if there was a biotech close to me, answer me or I'm on my way, things like that. And so, I try and get a feel from management, and then again, it's all about opportunity cost, my risk to reward, etc.
Perfect, dude. So that sums up Q&A, and now it's time for Hugh's DD on TRVN.
Yeah, so so TRVN came up on my scanner about a week ago, and one of the VV, she just joined Atlas, shout out. She's been great. She was all over ONTX, and I saw TRVN come up on my scanner, and I saw that she was on it. So TRVN, one of my favorite things is the run-up to the PDUFA. And they have a PDUFA due on...
We were playing VR poker whenever you were like, this has a Vadufa, and I'm like, what in the hell is a Vadufa?
Well, actually, when I first started trading, I used to call it Pafuda. And I actually, if I wasn't on the podcast, I call it a Pafuda. But, at the risk of sounding like an idiot for our followers, I'll call it Padufa. But technically, I call it Pafuda.
Hey guys, Vinny Strokes here. According to Wikipedia, the Prescription Drug User Fee Act, PDUFA, was a law passed by the United States Congress in 1992, which allowed the FDA to collect fees from drug manufacturers to fund the new drug approval process.
All right.
Okay. Anyways,
Yeah.
what's up with TRV?
So they have a PFUDA on August 7th, and so I think that because it's so early in the month, and this month has just been crazy, I think that people are going to start looking for an August plays. And the FDA, if you guys go on FDA Catalyst, there isn't many. So the ones that are will see, in my opinion, a greater run up. This thing is really pretty. It has a nice chart. It has a beautiful chart, and it has range. So I like it for that reason. And the other thing is that one of the reasons that we don't hold through many PDUFAs is because there's usually not a huge demand for whatever the company is trying to do. But TRVN is an alternative to morphine. And there is, especially everyone knows about the opioid crisis in America. There is a huge demand for this, and they would be the first of the kind. So I love TRVN it really depends if it catches on and how the overall market is. But I think that we can see I really think that we can see 350 on this. Because the run up, I don't think it started to really run up yet. And I think that people are going to literally right now, during this weekend, as it's the end of the month, are going to start looking towards August. And when they see that this is, there's a short-term capital, we're only holding it for less than 2 weeks, and you can see a 50% upside easily because there's a huge demand for an alternative to morphine. So most of the time we'll see like a sell-off before. I don't think we see that with this because there's a huge demand. And the CEO, I got to look back at my notes, but the CEO has said that they already have, once approved, they have huge demand. Like they already are in talks. So they believe that they can really increase their market cap and add shareholder value. So I would not be surprised if this ran after. I do believe that we can see 350 to 4 on this. I definitely think that we can see that. It really depends if it catches on or not and how the overall market is, because last August, it didn't matter what happened, everything was dead. So I don't want to say for certain, but I think that this can definitely see 354 because, like I said, there's a huge demand. And yeah, that's what I think about TRVN. It's nice and simple.
All right, cool.
Nice and simple. Yeah. It's a week and a half out. We know when the date is. So I think that this is a really easy play to make 50% on.
And now for the scenario brought to you by theblazingchronicle.com for all of your cannabis stock information. Okay, this one is from a guy named
V?
Hey,
Probably.
no blue check mark. Yeah, but it might be. Hey guys, I'm currently unemployed and I live with my girlfriend of 2 years in a small apartment, making things work during this pandemic. I've been trading since the market crashed back in March, and when I was fired, and I've had ups and downs trading, but overall, with Atlas's help, I've been able to get 280% of my initial investment. Just recently, I made it to 25K. Since I've been jobless, though, I've been trading full-time at home, and I've gotten in fights with my girlfriend when things go wrong in the market, or don't go planned. And I find myself being upset with my parents as well, mostly due to my own trading mistakes, and find myself quite irritable. It's starting to take its toll on all my relationships. I need help with separating my personal life from my life trading. What do you guys think I should do?
I think first that we should start a Dear Hugh and Dan, like Dear Abby.
Oh yeah, I need a PO box. You can get letters, and we only accept them written off of feathered ink.
All right. Well, what do you think? Does trading affect your relationships?
I mean, my dad asks me every single day, "How'd you do today, son?" And man, let me tell you, like, if I'm swing trading, I don't want to be like, "Doesn't fucking matter, Dad," but I mean, it stinks sometimes, and I think transparency is key. To be just fully honest with them. If they're asking you every day, that may frustrate you. Maybe tell them to ask at the end of the week. I mean, there's so many things. If it's just like you're trading, you're just getting pissed off on it. I think that is a you thing that you just need to kind of focus on how you can separate it yourself. Like, this is your job. If
Yeah.
the same thing would have more than likely been happening to you at your job as well if you had a shitty day there. And you also have to think like you're more than likely spending a lot more time with your girlfriend now because of the pandemic anyways. So that's like, you know, a thing I have a feeling a lot of people are struggling with anyways.
Yeah, I think for me, that was something that I struggled with in the beginning. Also huge is that when I really didn't used to sleep and I had a red day, I would be like a fireball. I was so irritable. So I think that's one of the biggest things is that you have to have separation and you have to understand, okay, like if you have to walk away, go for a walk. It doesn't matter. Or, you know, find something.
Play a video game. VR poker.
Play VR poker. You know, do whatever you need.
Me, Zach, and Hugh were doing that all Friday morning as we were just red. And we were just like, we just check our portfolio and be like, oh, that's not, nah, don't check it, guys.
Yeah. We'd take turns. Like, who's gonna take the sword today? I mean, this hour. But I think that you need to find something because I can't tell you. Like I said, I have one screen that's just for Call of Duty. You know, we have VR poker. You know, you need to find something, whether it's working out, getting away. Because if you're just staring at a red screen all day, especially if you're new to trading and you're staring at a red screen, I think that it's important that you find something, either reading a book or something. Also, we talked about this on the side, but how big are you into like inspirational videos and like books and stuff?
Dude, that the speech video that only came out of me watching motivational videos. I actually really like Gary Vee. I used to think he was just a guy that yelled and cussed a lot, but I've actually became quite fond.
Now we're just those guys.
Yeah.
No,
Hey, get your shit straight. No excuses.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that especially because I look back at like the days when like I would be losing and just bleeding out money. I mean, you know, I lost my net worth. If I had stopped then, like I look back at it and it's almost hilarious now because I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I lost $300 today. And again, $300 is a lot of money. But when you put it in perspective, if I had quit based on that, and that is why I cannot hammer it in enough. I cannot spell probably 70% of the words in the English language. Okay, I don't know how to use the double meaning words and all that. But, so if I can... synonyms, all... Yeah.
No, I don't think that's it either. Regardless, onomatopoeias, fuck it.
Yeah, all of them. All of them. Nobody is born a great trader, and you need to just put in the time. Like I think about it, and it's comical. If I had stopped trading, because I quote unquote lost my net worth, I don't even know. I don't even know what I would be doing because I can't picture myself.
Working at Lowe's.
I could be looking. I heard you got a new fridge, so I could have sold you that.
Yeah, you could have gave me a discount.
Yeah,
dude. I think another thing is like if you're just looking for something to do, man. I know a lot of, there's a good way and a bad way to say misery loves company. Yeah, sometimes people that are depressed, they don't want their friend to grind their way out of their depressing life. But also misery loves company. I like to hop in Discord when I'm red as shit, because most likely everyone else is red as shit too. And we can all talk about how red we are.
Yeah.
And that just jives me up. But yeah, I think that about finishes it for the scenario. I have one more quick little thing. Before real ones that watch the whole thing, we do want to hear your favorite morning cartoon from your childhood. Mine was Recess. I love the show Recess, PJ and Penelope, or TJ and Penelope. That was my favorite morning cartoon. What about you, Hugh?
I don't think after...
You were probably reading SEC files in the morning.
No, I think after Caillou, I stopped watching them. I remember Caillou's fine.
Okay, fair. The last thing I wanted to sum up with was this little banter. So this morning, Hugh only slept 2 hours, right? And he texted me at 5:30 Central Time, so 6:30 his time. And he says, I'm on a jog right now. I'm so pumped for the podcast. I'm like, okay, whatever, man. I was like, well, I'm probably going to go back to sleep. He's like, no, dude, what the hell? I was like, okay, well, I'll stay up if you play VR poker, come, just chill with me. And he goes, I'm 5 miles away from home. I'll sprint. So this man ran just 10 miles. He's like the fastest boy in the world.
Not to brag.
I just responded and I was just like, there's no way you're an actual human being. Because the shit he does is so unorthodox.
I'm flattered.
But it seems to work. This was Pennies Going in Raw, episode 3, Mentality, with Hugh Henne and Deity featuring, what's his name? Vinny Strokes? Yeah, appreciate it, Vinny Strokes. Love you, man. Produced by Vinny Strokes. It's Dan, Hugh. We're out. We'll see you next week whenever we figure out what next week's topic's going to be. Appreciate you guys joining, and see you next Sunday. Hope for a great week.